Hello everyone, welcome to my Ghostbusters Remastered, professional difficulty, no upgrade walkthrough, and this is the Return to Hotel Sedgwick. And as you can definitely tell, based on the length of this video, it is the shortest level in the game, and the combat encounters that are in this level aren't particularly challenging. I mean, the only hardest part about this level is the kitchen area, because the ghosts do a lot of damage to you, but these other enemies are just, they aren't a problem, and, you know, I was kind of expecting more out of new enemy types, but these guys behave exactly the same as the paper constructs and as the black slime fiends, so they aren't a problem whatsoever. Just freeze them with the stasis stream and then just use the shock blast. Simple. And you will not have any trouble with this section whatsoever. Now, I know I said before in the previous video that the Lost Island level was my least favorite level because you're not fighting any ghosts, but I would have to say this level is my least favorite, now that I've actually played it again. Because there's just not enough to this entire level to really make it interesting. And, you know, you're not fighting a lot of ghosts, obviously. You're just fighting these guys who just go down very easily from the slime tether. And it's not that challenging. Unless you get the chef ghosts just continually possessing objects and just spamming the move. And there's just not enough enemy types. You just fight those web fiends, you fight the chef ghosts, then you fight just a bunch of spiders. And then you fight the boss, and that's it. Like, this level and the Lost Island level feel like completely rushed levels. There's just not enough to them to make them that intriguing. You know, the enemy types that they offer just aren't enough. You know, this level barely has any enemy types, but then the Lost Island level has no ghosts to fight. It just has a bunch of dispersible entities and black slime monsters, and that's it. Like, I don't understand what they were thinking when they designed this. Like, I don't understand why there's barely anything to fight. Like, the PS2 version had a lot more enemies to fight in the Return to Hotel Sedgwick level, but I didn't like the overall level design, and that level was notorious for being the point in the game where the game would just get all sorts of scripting errors and would crash. It was really bad on the PS2 version. But then this level is just the complete opposite. There's just not enough content. And these enemies right now, these spiders, these are the last enemies we're going to be encountering before the boss of this level, which is the Spider Witch Ghost. And these enemies just go down in one hit from the boson dart, and you can also use the shock blast against them and you're perfectly fine. And the only reason I was using the shock blast here is because I was getting a lot of issues where the boson dart just wouldn't connect with these guys. Like, it would blow up near them, but it wouldn't do any damage to them. Because it's just the way the environment is set up. There's a lot of inclines and changes in elevations with this particular level that screw with the boson dart's ability to hit these guys. And this is the final encounter with the spiders before we enter the Spider Witch's lair. Like, can you believe it? Like, this is the most bizarre level. Like, I like the fact that they're changing the pace up with a more survival horror approach, because this is probably the scariest level in the game. But it means absolutely nothing if you don't have the enemy types necessary to complement the atmosphere. And there you go, that's the last spider right there, and now we're on to the boss. And the boss for this level is one of my least favorite fights in the game. Not because of the fact that it's bullcrap, it's just because it feels unfinished. Because she barely attacks you. For the most part, all this boss is going to do is just scurry all over the place. And then when she does try to attack you, she'll do this melee attack that is so easily telegraphed and just so slow that you can just back away from it and it won't even hit you. Like, on the PS2 version, she actually does stuff, because you can't just simply damage her. You have to actually knock her off the walls and she takes damage from the fall. But it was a very goofy design, and I didn't like that fight, and this fight, I don't even know which is worse. But after dealing a certain amount of damage to her, she runs away, and she tries to heal. And that's where the Mise en Collider really comes in handy, because you can use the Overload Pulse to find where she is. And once again, she's on us, but she's not doing anything. She keeps on teleporting and scurrying all over the place. Like, this is probably one of the easiest bosses I've ever seen. Heck, it might even be the easiest boss fight I've ever seen in a game. Like, forget the Witches of Hemwick from Bloodborne, or Pinwheel from Dark Souls. This boss fight is too easy. Way too easy, and it doesn't feel good in the slightest. I'm very disappointed. And once again, this is another indication that this level was rushed. It's like they just ran out of ideas, and because of that, it impacted the overall quality of this level. And while Egon actually gets downed, that definitely shows that the AI is useless on this game if they're getting downed by a boss that does absolutely nothing. And she's actually doing a range attack. But, once again, it's not a problem. It barely does any damage to you. Like, can you imagine if this boss could actually instantly kill you, but she behaves the way she is right now? Would that make this boss fight better? I don't know. I think it would make it absolutely bullcrap. I don't know what to say about this boss. This boss fight is very disappointing. And I'm just going to conclude the commentary here, because there's absolutely nothing to say about this final part. All she does is just the same thing, but she has Spider Fiends joining her. So stay tuned for the future levels. Thank you all for watching. I hope this boss fight doesn't make you bored out of your mind. And you take care now.